السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ومن أحسن قولا ممن دعا إلى الله وعمل صالحا وقال إنني من المسلمين وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من رأى منكم منكرا فليغيره بيده فإن لم يستطع فبلسانه فإن لم يستطع فبقلبه وذلك أضعف الإيمان أو كما قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our nourisher, our sustainer, our creator. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who reminds us in the Quran that there is no better a speech than that one who invites to Allah. وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا, he does righteous deeds and he says that I am from the Muslimin. And he sallallahu alayhi wasallam, how beautifully he reminds us that whomsoever of you sees a wrong, then he should stop it with his hand. If he cannot, then with his tongue. And if he cannot even with his tongue, then he should feel it in his heart. And that is the lowest form of Iman. Understand, we are right now in a time where people are setting out on a journey of Hajj. These are the months of Hajj. And at the same time, while we are focusing and we want to make sure that people set out on a journey of a lifetime to fulfill another pillar of the pillar of Islam, we are living at a time where there are issues that is concerning and having a direct impact on us locally and internationally. The Muslim community is faced now with a great challenge. The calling of a general or the snap elections has led many of a people to put their name forward to stand as candidates of the different political parties. To understand this also, we have a very special guest, Brother JAHIR HUSSAIN. And Brother JAHIR HUSSAIN, he is standing as a candidate here in Croydon West. I will give him to tell us a little bit about his background, as he's a resident of the Croydon and he's been here in South London, Croydon especially for 20 years. And indeed, when somebody is like standing or he lives in a place, in a location, he understands the community, he understands the issues that affect our lives in the area that we're living in, and he has decided to step into the politics to alleviate some of the very serious concerns that we have and to be a voice for the Croydon communities. JAHIR has an interesting background in education. He is a postgraduate degree in computer science with an honorary doctorate in digital transformation. Today we are living at a time where social media has an impact on the young, on the old. Everyone is connected to the social media. And to have somebody with this interesting background, digital transformation, we hear a lot about artificial intelligence, and he is expert by profession, but has a heart that has always been inclined towards helping people. Very interestingly, I also live here in Croydon, in this same South London, and we do visit Al-Hidayah Mosque. My little one, Huzaifa, he actually is a pupil and he is studying and memorizing Quran at the Hidayah Masjid here in Croydon. Interesting also to be and to have our guest JAHIR HUSSAIN, who has established Al-Hidayah, this Croydon charity, in 2013, the Hidayah Masjid, where many people are taking great benefit from, and continues to empowering the Croydon communities, economically, educationally, religiously, culturally. Yes, there's so much things to speak about JAHIR, but I think the time is running short. We don't want to go in, you have a lot I had to add on, but a little bit to introduce our viewers about yourself. Is there anything you want to add on before we ask you some really serious burning questions, especially why did you decide to stand as a candidate in this upcoming general election?
Walaikum salam. Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you today. And it is almost 30 years since I moved to United Kingdom, and I've been in London and Croydon for the last 25 years. The first 10 years, what I have seen, the bustling business activities, how the 99.9% of small to medium businesses were gaining much profitability and making Croydon a better place for living, and how the 99.7% of SMEs are struggling today. It's a major journey for me personally, from where Croydon was in 2000 to where Croydon is in 2024. And around 2010, I started to work more with the communities, and I have done all of my life in the corporate sector. And I have set up my own IT firm in 2013, at the same time when I started the charity Al Hidayah Croydon. Our focus has been going back to the Medina times, where a charity, a mosque, doesn't need to be only the place for worship. It is the place where you talk about business. It is a place where you talk about education. It is a place you talk about community benefit. It is a place where you talk about youth and children development and so on. And we wanted to realize that sort of an atmosphere through Al Hidayah Croydon. And today we have got more than 350 students. We are not focusing only on the religiosity. We are not focusing only on their education. We are making them play footballs. We are taking them to the ground to be physically fitness students right at the young age. And we are developing a wholesome development of individuals. That is the kind of atmosphere we would like to see in the entire Croydon.
Yes, indeed. Now, as you said, you are playing a very important role for the education for the children, and concerned about the upbringing. Look at the challenges that we are facing. We hear many a times, we see the posters, save lives and not knives, and we need a good environment. But these children are going to finally grow up. They're going to need to go to have education, university, and then the time will come where, as we know, most of the challenges that many of our the youth have, especially when it comes to the delay even in marriages, is that they do not have homes. So we have housing conditions that people are facing. There was the time pre-COVID, there is during the COVID, but right now we understand that the prices to purchase a home, how would you, in your position, if obviously if you be elected, how would you help to alleviate the many challenges that the people are facing, especially when you look at interest rate is such a major issue for the population. Most of the people are facing challenges. They want to climb up onto the property ladder. Do you have experience in this field, housing, and how you can help people even to climb onto the property ladder?
So in addition to acting as the chairman of Al Hidayah Croydon, a charity, for the last 11 years, I've also worked with Shahada Housing Association as a chairman for 2 years, that is during pre-COVID and post-COVID. And I have seen how improving the conditions of the houses, and especially migrants who have very less to offer from their own pocket, and the accountability losses in the officials who are looking after those properties and so on. So Housing Association has a great role to play in making a big difference in the lives of people. And having worked with Shahada almost for 2 years, and I felt there is a big gap, especially the compromise between going through the interest rate route and religious respect. And I found cooperative societies and going through that route is going to make a huge difference in people getting onto the property ladder. And that is where there is less prominence given to the interest rate and more into people put in however much they are able to offer towards property purchases, and that reduces the burden on the communities by and large.
Yes, indeed. This is something that needs to be seriously considered and see what alternatives are there, especially the communities who want to abstain from interest-related transactions, and people are really concerned and worried. And there has to be different means of alternative means of financing, which is something that communities will be really. But at the same time, I would like to understand. I understand that you have you're an expert in digital transformation. Using this, how can it be utilized to better the lives of the people? Can it be used even to develop, or meaning during the time when policies are made now? Because at the end of it, we know that policies are being voted in different stages in Parliament. How would you use this expertise in your field as an expert in digital transformation to help even with development of certain policies?
I think every country is applying artificial intelligence, machine language for various the sections of the improvements and so on. But looking at Croydon as a borough in South London, and also the current demography of people, if you know, there are 65% of the people in Croydon today are, 25% of the people are between the age group of 16 to 35. That's a huge youth population. And at the same time, we have seen during the year 2023, 19.5% of the people were unemployed. They are not in the unemployed category because they are eligible to work, they could work, and for the reasons either they are looking after elderly, either they have a family commitment, or they are looking after somebody disabled in the family, and they were not being able to work. So if you take these two positive factors for Croydon, convert them by applying artificial intelligence. For example, AI is a big beneficial for educating people to get into employment. And there is a company set up right in London, which is taking people from Far Eastern countries, in African nations, to train them in artificial intelligence and work for companies abroad. That's one simple example where without going through a local education, through AI, the training offered by AI, they are being employed in those countries. Similarly, people who are looking after elderly, people who are disabled, who cannot travel out of houses for obvious reasons, they should be given the opportunity to work from home. We have to increase the care workers. We have to look after them by using all the AI techniques that is possible to make them live a better life, to increase their mental health well-being also.
That's also, I mean, many have learned a lot of lessons during the pandemic, as people had to make a lot of adjustments, and people started using, obviously, artificial intelligence, and its lives had become transformed. Anyway, this is something but you just mentioned about the 16 to 25 years, meaning you have 25% of the people in Croydon, in that age group. What I would like to know is, elections are coming, and what if from this age group there are many who may be eligible to vote but they are not registered? So how will this have an impact on the outcome of the election when you know that there are people who already may be eligible to vote but they are not registered, and is there any deadline set for registration?
Of course, yes. I think the date for registering the vote is 18th of June, by when the voters need to register the name in the Croydon Council. There is a website, gov.uk, which offers the ability to register their votes online, number one. Number two, I've been knocking on the doors, meeting people over the last couple of days since the election was announced, and there is a lot of the way people are waiting for, even for ambulances, it cannot come within the set of hours. Emergency appointments are taking weeks at the moment. The unemployment rate within Croydon is very high. As I mentioned to you, 19.5% of the people who were eligible to work could not work in 2023, and that is kind of creating both the Labour as well as Conservative government has failed Croydon today with 1.4 billion worth of debt. We are facing a huge challenge, and people, especially youth and people who are at the 16 to 35 age group, are not happy with the progress Croydon has made. And this is going to impact the election on 4th of July. This is not going to be the election which we have seen in the last 4 or 5 terms, and there is going to be a lot of surprises for people who think this is a safe seat.
Yes, indeed. Now, a little bit about, on one hand, we know that you have, what has really prompted you, what has made you decide to stand as a candidate? Because people are saying we need to have alternative candidates. One of the great paining, burning issue that most of the communities have, especially given that while an election is happening, and the importance of a people whom are elected, how do they represent your views? Right now, the community, the Muslim most, is feeling that a genocide is happening in Palestine, in Gaza, and these major political parties, they have not really, they have not called for a ceasefire. And there are those who are genocide enablers. So we are concerned and worried that every day that is passing by, the people here are watching a genocide, but you and I mean the people who are living there, they are living the genocide. So here we are worried about tackling crime rate, we are worried about local issues, but the minds of the people right now is really worried and concerned about what's happening on the international level, because the MP, your position and your role is, yes, people will be challenging you and asking you about housing and asking you about the increase of the taxes, all those issues. But the real point that we want to bring to your attention, and you may be aware of, is most of the people, whenever they are going to consider this election is very different from elections that happened in the past. Muslims have come together and they want to know what is the position of this candidate when it comes to justice, when it comes to International Court of Justice have passed rulings. How are they going to try to enforce or support or make a difference that we see this genocide that is happening every day? I think this is really what we want to touch on, especially after the break. So we're going to go in for a short break, and then when we come back, we want to first to address the issue of what can and what will be the main burning point in every party have its manifesto, and why you are not standing as an independent candidate. What has made you decide to join a political party? I think these are people that generally would love to understand and know. So let's go for a short break, and after the break, we will be back and listen to JAHIR HUSSAIN, who is standing as a candidate here in West Croydon, and it will be interesting to know which party he is standing for and why he has decided not to stand as an independent candidate. Until after the break, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum.